Welcome to the video, and I'd like to say cheers, Happy New Year. We're starting a whole new year, and some say a whole new decade. Some say the decade's next year. So, we're in the 20s, you know. Anyways, this is my year-end review video, my second annual. We're going to talk about all the videos that I uploaded last year. But I think the best thing to do right off the start is to take a look at last year's video and see what my predictions were for this year. So let's check that out. What's up for 2019? Well, like I said, there's a Frankenstrat project that will get done in 2019. The Super Bass project will get finished after years of working on that. It'll get finished. The Crush guitar, a really unique guitar. I have all the parts for it. It's ready to go. It's going to be a complicated guitar. There's a lot of brass parts that I'm adding to that. The Floyd Rose is attached to brass blocks, brass bars. Instead of steel, I'm using brass. So we're going to see what happens. It's a project that I've wanted to do for a couple years. I have an old Squier bass that I want to turn into like a mid-60s Sunburst, heavily relic bass. That's going to be really fun. I always wanting to get to that, and hopefully maybe by the end of the year we'll get into that. And then I have a Les Paul kit that I bought, God, like 4 years ago, that I've always wanted to get to. And that's kind of the same thing. I'm going to do a gold top, heavily relic with a Bigsby, and I really want to get to that. So hopefully by the end of the year we might get to those. What did I say? Finish the Frankenstrat, finish the Super Bass project, work on the Crush guitar, maybe start a bass project, and maybe start a relic Les Paul project. What happened? I didn't do any of those things. How did that happen? I worked on things, I did stuff, I did upload videos. None of those things happened. This year was, you know, you can't predict sometimes what you're going to do. Things change. Something happened in April. The real Frankenstrat went into the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, allowing people to go in and view it and take pictures, the best that have ever been taken. This was a game changer because here I am right in the middle of my research and my paint sample testing, and now I've got incredible photographs to work from. I stopped all work on the Frankenstrat. I wasn't going to do one thing until I got that paint figured out, the fogging effect and all that, and I did. But that took a lot of time. Any videos that I do about the Frankenstrat are basically like just byproduct. I have all this information. Oh look, here's several things I can talk about. The last video that I uploaded, I'm going to go backwards in the list here of what I've uploaded. So the last video I uploaded in 2019 was how did Eddie Van Halen paint the Frankenstrat. This was the most intense video I've ever made, 40 plus minutes. It took me 4.5 months. I reshot the thing 3 times. I'm happy with how it turned out, and I was really glad to finally put an end to that video stuff. But 4.5 months takes a big chunk out of trying to upload 5-minute videos, which is what I normally try to do. I could have done multiple parts to that video, but I wanted to keep it contained into one video because I'm going to have a lot of other Frankenstrat stuff coming up, and I just didn't want to have part 1 of this of painting and part 2 of this of the build and part 3, you know, people are just going to get lost if anybody's even watching. So anyway, that's what occupied pretty much most of my time in 2019. So anyways, like I said, I'm going to go backwards. So the Super Bass project, why wasn't that finished? Well, because I kind of shelved it to do the Frankenstrat stuff. But I did upload 2 videos, and the second last one of the year was part, what is it, 15. I'm really happy with this one. This was all about buffing out the body, sanding it out, buffing it, getting that nice shine, which I've been wanting to do for years. It's been painted and I've been dying to get that done. Finally, I was at the stage where all the work was done on the guitar, is done, so that's the last thing. I don't want to do that at the beginning and then try to fit parts and scratch it, so that was why I waited. You know, and the next video will be the final video, so I don't know when it'll be, but the fun thing about that video was I involved my good friend Helmut, because I try to do these little intros now. Something that's unrelated to what's in the video. And he has a backyard beer garden every year.
So
and
anyways,
this would be perfect, you know, a bunch of people drinking beer. How great would that be? I love these things that are casual. And he helped me out with it. He was a little nervous, didn't know quite what he was doing or why I wanted. He knows I build guitars, but he doesn't really, you know, watch my videos and stuff like that. So he was a little bit nervous, but you know, a few beers and he was okay. He was ready to go.
Time to just get to know your neighbors. Time to get to make new friends.
Yep.
So to all of you out there, cheers!
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 Something that I couldn't have predicted that came along, and that's my good friend Scott with his Fugly guitars. He brought one of those over for me to do some wiring, and as part of that was to install a kill switch. And I thought, oh, hey, I don't have a kill switch video, so it's great when I can combine multiple things like that. I also talked about Pariah pickups and Texie kill switches, and brought those all together. Anytime I can promote my buddy's guitars, I will. So, and that was a fun video, and it worked out really well. And I made a couple of diagrams too that you can look up. Back to the Super Bass. That one, again, it was kind of cool. I call that my Batman episode, because another good friend of mine, Paul, actually restored a replica Batmobile. I watched him do this for months at the place that he worked at, or works at. He still works there. You know, it was incredible. I love Batman. I love the Batmobile. And to see somebody do this and restore something that I love so much, it was a fascinating thing. I was so happy that, because I asked him if I can, you know, do a video with him and the Batmobile, you know, if I'd be allowed to. It's not his, it's a customer's. He said he didn't mind, he just didn't want to talk. That's why he doesn't talk to the video. I don't have to talk, do I? This is Batman's body man. Secret body man. I'm a man with a secret Batman body. So I said, no, I got it all figured out. I got my dad joke that I'll throw in there. And I also put my own little Batmobile at the end of it, my little toy Batmobile, the one I had ever since I was 8 years old, that I had signed by George Barris, the creator of the Batmobile, and Adam West, Batman himself. So that was a really fun video, and that's not even what the video's about. That was all about making the brass nut for the headstock of the Super Bass, and that was totally fabricated just out of a brass flat bar. And you know, it shined it up. It looks really cool. It's my own little unique design, I guess you could call it. I was really happy with that. Since we're on the subject of Batman, something relates to this video that I was really proud of this year. I've discovered at the beginning of 2019 a podcast about the Batman 66 show. I started in on this podcast and wanted to plow through. I mean, I was behind. I think they started in 2015. I started plowing through their episodes and talk about, you know, my kind of thing. Detail-oriented guys, just like every little thing. But how it relates to this video, each Super Bass video I've ended with my own version of the Batman theme. More of a sideways version, kind of a tribute, I guess. But I did that because when I started uploading those videos, Adam West just passed away. So it was kind of my little tribute to him. And listening to this podcast, each one has a different Batman theme at the beginning. You know, there's thousands of them, so instead of just having one theme song, they grab from wherever. And I reached out to Tim and Paul and said, you know, hey, I don't know if you're interested, but I've done my own. It's not exactly a version of the song. It's, like I said, a sideways version, a tribute. They actually played it on one of their podcasts. I was super excited. Episode 123. Yeah, I can't be more thrilled that, you know, I reached out to these guys and now I'm part of their little podcast, big podcast. The two videos before that kind of go together. So let me just jump past the next one. Make your own picks. I've had this punch for years. You know, those you get the punch, and you take your old credit cards or gift cards, and you can make your own guitar pick. So I collected a stack of gift cards and credit cards and all kinds of stuff. I thought this would be a neat video, just something fun and whatever. So I stamped all these things out, and I thought, well, how am I going to show that these things actually do work? I mean, sitting here just playing a guitar would be kind of pointless and stupid. So I came up with something that grew into itself, became its own thing. I did put it at the end of the pick punch video, but I also uploaded it after that as its own thing because I thought it's silly and weird. But it's basically, I thought, well, how do I showcase all these picks that I've made? So I used my regular song that I close out my videos with, and I re-recorded it, except I doubled the parts. So usually there's, you know, a lead part, a rhythm part, and a bass part, and the drums. But so I redid all the guitar parts and the bass parts. There's actually breaks. So I play a couple of bars and then I stop. And then when I stop, I grab a handful of picks or the pick that I'm using and throw it at the camera. So I alternate all these parts. So no matter what part of the song, I'm throwing picks at the camera. But I just kind of went wild with that little graphic piece. There's numbers counting all the picks. You know, your chicken dinner at the end. I don't know, it's just kind of a goofy thing, and I had a lot of fun with it. Wow, we're getting right down the second last, or the second upload for 2019. Drill Bit Carousel. The fucking Keen Drill Bit Carousel. That was something that started off my whole shop renovation 2 years ago. I decided to build my my super fancy mahogany drill bit carousel because I thought if I make it so fancy and cool, I'll use it. And actually, I do use it, and it works. And when I see something missing out of it, I look around. Oh, it's in a drill bit, or it's in the drill press. I'll take it out, put it in there. It really helped. But it also helped me in everything else that I did when I was renovating. So not to do it half-assed, but to actually, you know, hey, I went all out to make this. I can go all out with everything else. All right, and that kind of ties in with the first video, the first real video of the year, which was my Hideaway bench grinder stand, which is under the bench right now. I should have had it out. Fancy as well. Cherry, stained, high gloss, polished. I even put decals in it. It's also a way for me to experiment with all that stuff too, but it was a lot of fun. It actually worked out really well. I came up with the idea with hinges, so, you know, to hide my bench grinder when I'm not using it. And I thought, I can't be the only one that's ever thought of this. And I Googled it, and sure enough, I mean, a lot of people do the exact same thing, except they use 2x4s, and I went all out and used cherry and a fancy little leg. That was it. That was my 2019. And, you know, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but it was productive, and I got a lot of things accomplished, especially when it comes to the Frankenstrat, because it's an important guitar to me, because that was what got me into playing guitar, and it really has, I mean, if you love the Frankenstrat, you know exactly what I'm talking about, how much that has influenced you if you're a guitar builder and you love the Van Halen music. Anyways, time for my predictions for next year, I guess, right? Let's see how wrong I'll be. Finish the Frankenstrat, finish the Super Bass project, start the Crush guitar, start... I could go on. Is it useless for me to even say? I'm not going to do any of those things. Yes, I will. No, I won't. Yeah, I will hopefully finish the Frankenstrat and the Super Bass, and start on the Crush guitar would be really cool. The other two, the Squire Bass and the Les Paul, don't know if that's going to happen. I do have another project that I would like to start on that I've thought of for years that I think I really should kickstart that. Subscribe to this channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't really go on Twitter a whole lot, but I have stuff up there. Instagram I love. I'll have more stuff for 2020. That's not a year. That's something that your eye doctor tells you, hopefully. But anyways, yeah, there will be Frankenstrat stuff coming up, obviously. I got it in the can now. I'm editing on my computer and stuff right now as we speak. So, what else can I say? Thanks for watching the video. Thanks if you've subscribed all these years. And we'll talk again next year. Cheers. Thank you.